malaria drug hydroxychloroquine as a possible treatment for coronavirus. Trials in several countries are being temporarily suspended as a precaution, as a recent medical study suggested the drug could increase the risk of patients dying from COVID-19. Good morning, I'm Amit Nagarel, and these are the top stories of this hour. Fourth death due to COVID-19 in the country confirmed in Kalaya of Bara district. Number of coronavirus cases in Nepal climbs to 689, with 86 more individuals tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. Government prepares to ease the lockdown to revive the economy. Prime Minister Oli says parameters of testing COVID-19 will be extended to at least 2% of the country's total population. Chinese response awaited as the Indian military base's presence in Kalapani and Lipu Lake exhibits a different strategy besides trade and religious activities. And WHO halts the testing of the malaria drug hydroxychloroquine as a possible coronavirus treatment, halted because of safety fears. Nepal confirmed the fourth death in the country yesterday due to COVID-19. According to the Health Ministry, a 70-year-old man was diagnosed with COVID-19 after his report came out positive 8 days after his death. The man, who had been admitted at National Medical College in Birganj on 15th of May, died 2 days later. The man has been identified as a local of Kalaya submetropolis in Bara district. 6 people who came into contact with him have also been tested positive for coronavirus. Meanwhile, 86 new coronavirus cases were confirmed in Nepal yesterday, taking the tally of confirmed cases in the country to 689. On a brighter note, 155 people have fully recovered from the virus in the country yet. According to the Health Ministry, 26 individuals from Raspur, Farhadwa and East Nath in Rohtahat were tested positive. Likewise, 23 individuals in Bara district have also tested positive. 7 new cases have been confirmed in Dailek districts, Narayan municipality and Dundekar and Guras rural municipalities. Likewise, 4 people in Pake, 3 individuals in Thanusa, and 5 individuals in Kapilpastu were tested positive for COVID-19. 2 people in Toka and 1 person in Boranilkanta and Kathmandu were also confirmed positive with the virus. 2 cases each have been confirmed in Saptari and Kulmi districts, while 3 new cases have been detected in Pardia district. Atham and Argakhati districts have recorded their first cases yesterday, as a 32-year-old man tested positive for the virus in Atham, while 2 cases were detected in Argakhati. Likewise, a case has been confirmed in Trupandahi. The Health Ministry has informed that a PCR laboratory has been established at Tribhuvan University yesterday. With this, 20 laboratories are in operation to test samples for coronavirus. Likewise, the ministry has informed that a total of 2,904 samples were tested under the PCR method yesterday, taking the total number of tests to 51,642. The local levels of several districts in Bagmati province have started rescuing their people stranded at the Nepal-India border. The local levels of Dolaka, Sindupalchuk, Sinduli and Ramechhap districts have started rescuing locals from border. However, the local levels have failed in managing proper quarantine centers and taking other necessary precautionary measures in a bid to curb the coronavirus spread. Several local levels, including Kalimchok rural municipality of Dolaka and Dutholi municipality of Sinduli, have managed to rescue a number of stranded people at border transits. Almost 22,000 people are expected to return to Sindupalchok district alone. According to the data provided by the districts, almost 100,000 people are returning to the province from India and the third countries. However, local levels are facing challenges in managing quarantine centers due to the massive flow of people and the lack of budget. Local levels have intensified forming quarantine centers in schools and public places in Ramechhap, Dolaka, Sindupalchok and Sinduli districts, as the flow of people returning to the districts has increased in recent days. Although the local levels have started rescuing people after the central government's decision to bring them back, they have overlooked mandatory measures. This has increased the risk of outbreak in hilly districts. Representatives of the local and provincial levels are responsible in managing the people returning from India and the third countries with necessary health checkups and forming proper quarantine centers to minimize the risk of the coronavirus outbreak. The government has set a target to expand the parameters of coronavirus testing to take it to at least 2% of the country's total population. In a televised address to the nation yesterday evening, Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli said the government has formulated a strategy to carry out the testing on at least 2% of the country's total population at the recommendation of the experts, citing that the country could now test samples from 20 laboratories. Likewise, Premier Oli informed that the government is planning to form a mechanism that will help in the government's efforts to contain the pandemic. In his address, Prime Minister Oli also stated that the government would make proper arrangements to rescue the stranded Nepalese nationals abroad and expressed his commitment to repatriate them very soon. Premier Oli informed that the government would soon allow resuming the operation of industries with necessary safety measures. Prime Minister Oli said that the government had not stopped distributing the Social Security allowance and added that the government was planning to expand the scope of the allowance. Likewise, Prime Minister Oli informed that the government would come up with an alternative plan to address the problems of the students who were to appear in SEE or secondary education examination. Prime Minister Oli also stated that the government would introduce relief packages to rejuvenate the economic sector of the country. The government is preparing to change the modality of the current lockdown measures considering the hardship the public have been facing as the restriction period is getting lengthy. During the cabinet meeting held at the Prime Minister's official residence, Balwatar, yesterday afternoon, the government discussed on the potential modality to ease the lockdown as the daily life of the public has been affected due to restriction imposed 2 months ago. The government is facing mounting pressures to amend the modality of the lockdown at a time when India has resumed its domestic air and train services. The government is planning to ease the lockdown in districts which have no cases and seal the virus-hit areas. The government is holding discussions to impose strict measures in districts adjacent to the Indian border and relax restrictions in the hilly districts, including the Kathmandu Valley. India has already signed agreements with China to use the Nepalese territory of Lipu Lake as the trade route and a religious route to Mansarovar. However, the presence of Indian military bases in Kalapani and Lipu Lake exhibit a different Indian strategy besides trade and religious activities in the area. Meanwhile, a Nepalese security mechanism has submitted its report to the government regarding recent developments in the area. Nepal has recently established a border outpost of the armed police force in Changru of Bias rural municipality near Kalapani. However, the Indian government has already established 14 border outposts of the Indian Border Security Force at Tarsula, India, covering Nepal's territory from Ratoda in Tarsula district in the Kalapani area. 40 Indian border security personnel are deployed in each post with a total of 560 security personnel deployed throughout the year. Not only this, India has deployed 1,000 Indian Army men, each in 2 platoons, with 150 Indian Army men, each in 2 barracks and bunker and forts throughout the year in the border area. It is still not clear since when the Indian security forces had been deployed. However, during the Indo-China War of 1960, it is assumed that the security forces were deployed in the area and since then have increased their presence in the Nepalese territory. There are 1,000 Indian Army men deployed in the Kalapani area. Likewise, a battalion each of 150 Indian Army men are deployed in 2 barracks located in Chalik and Kunji, while 540 into Tibetan border police have been deployed in Navi, Kuti, Chalik and Kunji to protect the Tibet border. Besides this, having 5,000 army men in the area, India has kept 3 military helicopters at standby. The purpose for this is still a big question. Not only this, the Borders Construction Organization of the Indian Army is involved in constructing the road section from Tabakatov to Limpiatura instead of involving a local construction company. Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh felicitated the ongoing progress of construction of the link road to Mansarovar, making it as a huge achievement for India. It is still unclear whether the Indian Chief of Army hastily commented on the Nepalese political move. India and China signed deals during the visits of leaders of both the countries to make Lipu Lake as a point of trade, transit and religious route. However, the Chinese response to the Indian strategic activities beyond the agreement is still awaited. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
An the question is, what's your say on the amount deducted from salary under Social Security not even being spent for the welfare of laborers? And options are A. Misinterpretation of the program, B. Mentality of exploiting others, and C. Dishonesty towards laborers. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and set it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now the sports update. The Women's Super League and Women's Championship seasons have been ended immediately, with the outcome of the WSL title and promotion and relegation issues still to be decided. The joint WSL and Women's Championship Board has sent various recommendations to the Football Association Board to determine the most appropriate sporting outcome for the season. An FA statement said the decision came after overwhelming feedback from clubs and was made in the best interest of the women's game. It means all divisions of women's football in England have now been cancelled for the 2019 and 20 campaign. Clubs had been assuming the season would not resume, leaving the 45 remaining fixtures in the WSL and 36 in the Championship outstanding. Monday's Joint Leagues Board meeting came after a formal consultation process with clubs last week. The FA wrote to clubs on Wednesday to seek their formal views on whether to end the season and how to do so. Manchester City were top of the table when the season was suspended in March because of the coronavirus pandemic, although second-placed Chelsea had a game in hand on the leaders. Indian sport is mourning the loss of one of its greatest heroes, hockey player Balbir Singh, who helped the newly independent country win its ever gold medal at the 1948 London Olympics. Singh died at the age of 95 in the northern city of Chandigarh after a prolonged pulmonary illness, his family said. In an illustrious career, Singh won 2 more Olympic gold medals. Even after retirement, he coached the Indian team that won the World Cup in 1975. But it was his exploits at one of the most unusual Olympics that he first made his mark. The 1948 Olympics were held in a London still emerging from the chaos of World War II and were known as the Austerity Games. Athletes who were housed in RAF camps and school halls were told to bring their own towels and medals after handed over without ribbons to save money. The Indian men's hockey team had hosted Great Britain in final and beat them 4-0, with the centre forward Singh, then age 23, scoring twice in the first half. And that's all for this hour. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Have a good day.